Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, we are always happy to have someone who knows so much about things that most of us don't know anything about, and that's Arthur OKEN, who is the owner of SavOn Global Meds, and we're so happy when he comes here. You know, Arthur, do you sleep at night because you have so much information? Where do you get all your information from, by the way?
I do a lot of reading. I go through the Harvard Medical Reviews. I go through the Mayo Clinic Reviews. Especially when I'm writing articles, I do a lot of research so that my articles are well-founded. And I also, also write down, where I got my sources from.
Yes.
And I was a market researcher doing surveys, and I did a lot of work for drug companies. And so, and I also happen to have worked for a drug company. And so I know a lot about drugs, and particularly the manufacturing and how they manufacture products. And when I became a, quote, senior, and I got on Medicare, my wife and I both were on some pretty heavy-duty medications, and lo and behold, we found ourselves in the donut hole in April, both of us.
Meaning, tell everybody who may be listening and doesn't understand that.
Well, if you're a senior and you're on Medicare, the donut hole is when you hit a certain level. There's 4 tiers. The first tier is just your deductible, and then you have your second tier, where when you spend a certain amount of retail price, not what you pay on your copay, and when you reach that level, you go into what's called the donut hole. And the donut hole, you end up paying 37% of generic price and 25% of the branded price. However, the retail price on a lot of these medications could be in the thousands. And where you were getting something for like $141, all of a sudden your insurance company tells you, or your pharmacy tells you, oh, by the way, that'll be $550. And that's what we were faced with. And so I searched, I did a lot of research, and I found a company called CanadaDrugs.com, and I was quite comfortable getting my medications from overseas, and I decided to become to help my community where I live. I had an enormous amount of seniors, and they had a hard time. I told them that I could show them how they could save money. I wasn't planning on doing anything other than showing them how to save money. And I found myself doing all the work for them. And I said, you know what? Maybe I should go and become an affiliate. And I did start with a Canadian operation. Their prices were too high for me. I couldn't really bring the prices down. And then I found a New Zealand company. You have to keep in mind that Canada and New Zealand are really small countries in terms of populations, and they don't manufacture many products. They do manufacture a number of products, but the thing is they're both on socialized medicine. And in order for them to be able to provide inexpensive medications to the people on Medicaid, and I don't know what their equivalent is of Medicaid, but on Medicare also, they have to go overseas. And that's what the New Zealand company did, and they gave me very good prices to work with.
And they're nice, aren't they?
They're lovely people.
And you trust them?
Oh, yes. We get and all of the branded medications are identical to the brands that are sold here in the U.S. We don't have, when we put together what they call Plan D, which was part of Medicare, that was the drug plan, they said that Medicare could not negotiate prices. And so the drug lobby has its way. They're the strongest lobby in Washington and in every single state. And they decide what they're going to charge. And the insurance companies, they'll set whatever they feel the retail price is. They set, there are tiers. when a lot of people have what you go into tier 3, tier 4, and what I call tier 5 are not covered medications, that's when you find yourself being walloped with prices. The tier 1s, the tier 2s are the low-cost generics. And generics are pretty good. They're supposed to have the same. They're supposed to have the same active ingredient. The inactive ingredient can vary by manufacturer, and which leads us up to, I guess, a point that you and I, Anita, were talking about.
Right.
If you want to.
Yeah, that Arthur came in here and he said, "Boy, the last show I did was great. I had so many calls about generic versus, I guess, what do you call them?
Branded.
Branded. And people are switching because it's a matter of, look, if you're going to take a medication, it goes inside you. You want it to be the best. And so you are been able to do that for people."
I'm not questioning generics. What I am questioning is that China is my main concern. They've been approved for 59 medications to make generic, and also to make some major, also be a supplier for the active ingredient for some of the brands. And the FDA is supposed to be going into China and inspecting the plants. And let me tell you a thing that you find hard to believe. They have to make an appointment to visit the plant. And it doesn't take much of a genius to figure out if you have an appointment, the company is going to do what they can to clean up their act. And also China provides them the data, of the test results.
So
and there
Arthur,
have been problems.
So Arthur, why do we accept that? Are there not other countries that could make it, India and other places?
Actually, about 50% of the generics that you buy here in the United States in your pharmacy come from India. And the FDA has a major presence in India, and they visit the plants on a just as often as they visit the plants here in the U.S. They don't have to make an appointment. And they also work with the Indian companies on quality control. And there was a problem a number of years ago. It was a company called Ranbaxy. The FDA gave them a warning. They didn't like the product that was coming out of them. It continued, and they banned it. And that's what gave India the bad image. But you have to understand that India does manufacture and does do quality products, and very comfortable with products that are made in India. We only use companies that are FDA inspected.
I think this is a good time to give your number out because people are saying, okay, so how do I get in touch with them, the company, and what's the phone number? So let me give you the office number. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. So it's 561, 432-3294. Let's do that again, 561-432-3294. And you can go on their website, which is SavOnGlobalMeds.com. Now, when they go on the website, will it show? You see, in the magazine, when you show the page with a lot of the medication, your website shows a lot more, though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. What happened was the New Zealand pharmacy that we dealt, you have done about 4 years ago, the powers that be, which is called the drug lobby, saw to it that if you're a company such as us who are located, we happen to be in Palm Beach County, but located in the U.S., you can't use a credit card. And there used to be storefronts all over Broward, Dade, Palm Beach County. They all went under because they were all tied in with credit cards.
Okay.
The New Zealand company also couldn't use credit cards. So they had to sell off. They had 2 Canadian sites, believe it or not. They had to sell off their site to an affiliate in Canada, and their agreement was that none of their affiliates could advertise on a lot of products. So I can only do a sampling of products.
I see. So you change the sampling, though, every month, too, don't you? Pretty much, a little bit.
Not as much.
Just a little bit.
The ads in the Boomer Times are much more up to date. They're much more extensive, and they work.
All right, but if someone calls you, that may not be in the ad
Oh, yeah,
shows.
we get
So,
calls.
they call you, they tell you, ask them what they're on, and then you have a whole list.
Yeah, we'll put in one size of Xarelto or one size of Eliquis, and they'll say, well, I take another one, or I take Asacol, or I take Pentasa, but I use you have a list down for 3 times a day. I take it 5 times a day. I mean, we have it. It's just I have 7,000 items that I work
kidding.
with.
7,000
I just can't
items.
get the 7,000 items onto this.
That is
this one-page ad.
I can't. That is really amazing that you have that. Well, this was not your business before. You got into it, but you got into it as
as I said to you,
force of nature, just because of personal.
Yes,
it was personal.
And, but I want to get back to the generic.
Okay.
And that was if any of your listeners take hypertension medications, you will find out recently in the last few months that you would have had enormous problems getting your generic medication. And it occurred on 3 different. The FDA found a carcinogen coming up in 3 different batches. Not batches, but in batches of losartan, of olmesartan, and valsartan, and all of a sudden we've been getting calls for Benicar, for Diovan, and Cozar, because people are concerned that if it's going to happen once, could it happen again?
Sure.
And again, seniors have a problem with generics. Not that the generics are bad, but a lot of times they become very confused because one month you'll go in and you'll get it, and it's a red and white capsule. And the next time you go in, it's a yellow and blue capsule. And you tell the pharmacist, you gave me the wrong product. And they said, no, we have a different supplier. Well, what happens is with a lot of these generics, there are multiple suppliers. And the multiple suppliers each make their product different looking. They cannot make it look like the original brand. And also another point is that the inactive ingredients will differ from each different supplier. And when it comes to a point where all of a sudden you're saying, hey, I've been taking this product for a while and it's no longer working for me, I'm getting reactions. And the doctor says, well, maybe you should go back to the brand. And we sell an awful lot of branded. And not only for that, we sell it for Crestor and Cymbalta. It's just amazing. These are popular products that should be very inexpensive. I mean, not that we charge a lot of money. A 3-month supply of could run $70, $80, $90. I mean, or $60. For the brand. It's still going to cost you money, but there are some people who say, hey, I don't want to take a chance. And yet I still have to say, you should always try to stay with the generics as long as you don't have a problem with them.
Yeah, well, of course, they didn't know they had a problem. It came out. You see,
It came out after.
Yeah, it came out after. But let's back up a little bit, and let's talk about if someone though wants to do this, they have to get 90 days of product.
Well, what happens is in manufacturing, it's much cheaper for the drug company to produce 90 pills than to produce 30 pills. And we just pass on the savings. A product may cost $50 for the first month, but then it may only cost $70 for 2 months supply. We do 3 months because it does take about 3 weeks for the product to arrive. So the best savings is always to get a 3-month supply.
Okay, but Arthur Oken is the owner of the SavOn Global Meds. But I wanted to ask you, Arthur, so let's say that someone's buying something from you, and then it comes out that it's not a good product, that there's something wrong with it, and they already have these. Well,
we've never had that problem.
You haven't. So
I've been in business 7 years. I had one person who called up and said, I've been taking this product now. I saw that she's been buying the product for 3 years, and all of a sudden I got sick.
No.
So I took a look, and I saw that I sold that product to her 6 months ago. I don't know what she did with the product. If you don't keep your medication in a cool spot, that medication's going to break down on
What's
you.
a cool spot? The refrigerator or just in
You can
your house?
refrigerate products, but if you keep it in a cabinet that's getting, if you have air conditioning and you keep it in a cabinet that gets air, if you keep it over a microwave or a toaster, it's going to get very warm inside the cabinet. And we don't know what the person does. Do never keep a product in a car.
Right.
Never keep your products in a car.
Okay, but
especially
you
down
can't.
here in South
But
Florida.
you can keep them in the refrigerator without a problem.
You can keep them in the refrigerator.
I think I'm
yeah.
going to put all mine in the refrigerator. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I will.
You can refrigerate.
I was only doing antibiotics in the refrigerator, but I'll start keeping. I don't take many medications, but I will keep it there. And my dog, anything he has, I'll put it in the refrigerator.
As long as it's out in an air conditioned room and it's kept over kept.
Yeah.
It doesn't go up to 80 degrees.
Well,
but
but
your medication
sometimes
is fine.
Yeah, but sometimes air conditioning goes bad. It's a good point though that you made.
You should always read your instructions that says store the product, between certain
Right.
degrees.
Right.
Don't freeze it.
Yeah.
It's products will last a long time. You can go a year past the expiration date
Okay.
on a product.
I have another question about it. So some people want to take only half of the pill. Can they just cut it in half casually, or does it change something?
First of all, if it's a capsule, no.
No, of course not.
If it's a
Tablet.
if it's a extended release, CR, XR, XL, any of those letters after SR, any of those letters after it, those are extended release or slow release. You can't cut those in half.
Okay.
As long as the product is not an extended release, yes, you could take it. Also, you can't cut in half an enteric-coated product. So talk to your doctor, or always ask a pharmacist.
Well, the reason I ask because I give Charlie melatonin now. The vet told me to give it to him, and I in order to give it to him, he doesn't. It's too big a pill. I have to hide it in his food, so I cut it into 4 little pieces.
Yeah, well, my doctor cuts it.
Oh, so that's not a problem.
Cuts it. My doctor always cuts it in parts. Yeah, we sell dog products also.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You don't miss a trick.
I had a person call up one day and says, I need, she didn't say it was for a dog. I went on fill a prescription, and I said, you do know this is a pet product. We don't really get anybody, we don't say that we sell pet products,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
but we have problems with some of the new products that come out. It's what always amazes me is when all these new products come out and they advertise it on television, you better believe that you're going to cost you a bloody fortune. Humira, you advertise like crazy. It's so expensive.
Because they have to pay for the marketing.
It works wonderful. It's so expensive. You see products like Xeljanz now being advertised for rheumatoid arthritis. You see Harvoni, and there's another one for hepatitis C. Harvoni, before last year, was costing $96,000 for a 3-month supply. We were selling it for 3 months, $1,800.
So wait. So who would pay $96,000?
If you want to get rid of hepatitis C and it's affecting your liver, hepatitis C. Now there's the breakout for hepatitis A, and a lot of people have hepatitis B, and there's hepatitis C. The B and the C's are very expensive medications.
There's a very big company though now that they were terrorized, I guess, because it was so expensive, and they reduced their prices. I don't remember the company, but it was somebody who was selling, I forget, it's for diabetes or something, and now they're.
Oh, sure, he bought the company, and there's a company, Valiant was doing that also, and Myland was doing that on the
Injection?
The ones when you get a. I'm a senior, by
That's
the way.
okay. It happens to everybody. So it doesn't have to be a senior.
But Myland has had a problem. Valiant has had a problem. very dependable companies, but some of them, they decide that the bottom line is more important.
Yeah.
When they test products, they tell you that that's what's making the price so expensive. We're the only country in the world that advertises new products, and they spend as much money on marketing as they do on development. And a lot of that development is done in universities, and they're just buying some of the development. So they're not spending the kind of money that they say they are. And it's bull. When they say that's why they can charge that.
My guest is Arthur Oken, and he is the owner of SavOn Global Meds. And you can get their products in two ways. You can call the office at 561-432-3294, or you can go to their website, which is savonglobalmeds.com. So, and you can pick up Boomer Times and find his very, very informative articles, and of course his ad, which shows a lot of products, but not all the products. And so if you're on something else, just give them a call and they'll help you. But Arthur, years ago, I don't think I took medication, but years ago, it wasn't confusing like this. You went to the pharmacist, and that's kind of how you got things. But you're lucky if you can get a pharmacist to come and talk to you about anything. They don't seem to know.
They actually had they were never allowed to tell you that it was cheaper to buy the product retail than with the insurance. They had a gag order.
Really?
Yes. So I think the gag order may have been removed. But it's just, the thing is, we're able to get the brands, and we're able to get a lot of generics that are not available in the U.S.
Right.
And because of the controlled prices in Europe, we get the brands at a fraction of a cost of what they sell here in the U.S.
And you're very trustworthy, and people know that when they call you, they feel like you're someone who will talk to them. Where else are they going to get the kind of knowledge and talk that you give?
Well,
I think that's your best.
I talk to a lot of people, and I try to explain to them different options that they have.
Right.
One person called up and said, should I go into the catastrophic and pay all the money up front, but then I only have to pay 5%? And, I sit down with some of the customers if they come in, but again, it depends on their needs, and I try to help them through it.
You do. You're terrific. I think you've really started something. You're like a counselor. People usually make phone calls to companies, and they just get a staff member who doesn't know too much. They take their phone number or whatever. So I appreciate what you do. It makes us good, because at Boomer Times we want to help people, and to have someone like you as one of our representatives, in a sense, is absolutely wonderful.
I even have to tell doctors how to write the prescription for some of the products, because
really?
We have a product, it's called Creon. You talk about a product in a donut hole. This one is it's pancreatic enzymes. People who have had cancer, have had their pancreas removed, or the pancreas stopped functioning, they have to take this product. And the same company makes it overseas, but they make a different it's a different strength, and so I have to explain to them
to the doctor.
And it's in European pharmacy units rather than in milliliters or milligrams. So I have to do the conversion, and then there's 3 enzymes in there. I have to explain to the doctor what's in it and how to write the prescription.
It's amazing. So you did research to find out all this, right?
Of course. How am I going to sell this stuff?
Yeah, I know. It's terrific.
I am very analytical.
Yeah, I know you are. You are. That's good, but it pays off, and this was the right business, because this is something new. Arthur was retired, but this kind of fell upon him, and he jumped in, and it's so wonderful. So Arthur, we're happy that you come here and you tell everybody everything.
Pleasant.
And everybody, if you want to know, should you take generic or take the brand, he'll tell you about that.
Well, I'm not going to tell you. Oh. I'm never going to tell. If the doctor wants you to use a generic, I'm never going to. The doctor has the number one say.
Of course, and he will say that.
And I always say, talk to your doctor first if you're going to be changing, because number one, if the doctor wants you to use a brand, if you go into your pharmacy and you bring in the doctor's prescription and it says
Right.
brand, you have to get pre-approval. And the doctor has to write a letter to the
No
insurance company
kidding.
explaining why you have to get the brand.
No
And then they charge you an arm and a
kidding.
leg.
Oh, that's news too. Well, okay, well, there's a lot of stuff we want to hear about, but we don't know about. And thank you, Arthur. It's always such a pleasure to have you come here.
My pleasure.